Under them stadium lights, man, was a problem. Quick feet, mad techers, goals that had defenders shook in it. Quincy Promes weren't just balling, he was living that baller dream. Champions League nights, man them repping Holland 50 times, stacks in the millions, fam. But while the crowd was screaming his name, something else was bubbling behind the scenes. 2 containers, over a ton of coke. Man pulled a blade on his own cousin at a family ting. And guess what? Through all that madness, man kept playing, posting, flexing, smiling like nothing happened. This right here is the story of a baller who had the whole game on lock, then still chose to play in the dirt. Promes came up in Amsterdam, but he had Surinamese blood running through him, you get me? Raised in the Bijlmer, one of them gritty ends, tower blocks, tight roads, bare dreams. Ball was life out there, kids playing on pavements, car parks, any patch of grass they could find. Promes, he was obsessed, sun up to sun down, ball glued to his feet, skanking past corners, learning all the street techers. His dad used to kick ball too, back in Suriname. It was in his veins. His mom, W, weren't having it when he ditched school though. She used to proper cuss him, but even she had to admit man was gifted. By 16, bare heads were turning. Scouts clocked him while he was tearing up an amateur club. Next thing you know, man's wearing the Ajax badge, the legendary academy fam. But skill weren't the problem, his ego was. Man clashed with coaches, moved reckless, acted like his talent made him untouchable. Ajax dropped him, just like that. For him, it felt like the world ended. He said it himself, it was the worst day of his life. Nearly dashed it all away, but his mum kept him going, told him to hold firm, so he did. Came back stronger at 20, joined a smaller club, less pressure, more room to breathe. Then boom, Spartak Moscow hit man up in 2014. Russia's biggest club offered him 5 years. He grabbed it. New country, new league. Same story though. Goals, assists, trophies. Fans loved him. He was their golden boy. By 2017, he bagged top scorer in the Russian league. Then came Spain. Sevilla signed him in 2018. It didn't last, but it didn't need to, cause Ajax came crawling back. Paid nearly 16 mil to get him. The same team that binned him before. Now they wanted him back home. And back home, man got called up for the Dutch squad. 50 caps, 7 goals, playing with ballers like Van Dijk, Wijnaldum, Memphis Depay. Promes became a regular for Oranje. Even made it to Euro 2020. Off the pitch, man was showing off heavy designer fits, penthouse views, the whole drip, but no one really asked who was around him now or what them new friendships meant. On the pitch, he was the golden boy. Off it, something murky was creeping in, fam. He looked untouchable. Dubai holidays, iced out watches, supercars revving like GTA. Promes weren't just acting like a star, he was living like one. Every Insta post was clean, stories looking glossy, but close ones started whispering. Man had changed. Too many new faces, too many man who didn't care about football, just wanted the money and status. Fake brethrens, you get me? People who couldn't tell offside from off license. But here's where it got messy. Prosecutors clocked the maths weren't mathing. Sponsorships and match bonuses couldn't cover the lifestyle. Man was pushing. There was something else funding it. Word on road and on wiretaps was that Promes had ties to some serious underworld figures in the Netherlands. One name kept popping up. Pieter Wartel, big dog in the Dutch drug game. Prosecutors said Promes paid this guy 250 racks, all cause a coke shipment went sideways. Rip deal, bare losses. We'll break that down later. In it. But criminologists weren't shocked. They said fame and fast money always bring vultures close. But what made Promes different? The boldness. He weren't some baller accidentally getting dragged in. Nah, fam. They said he was knee deep, at the center of it all. But more on that soon. At the time though, feds didn't have concrete proof. Just whispers, names, movements, bits and pieces. Then January 2020 hit. 2 containers touched down in Antwerp. And that's when things kicked off proper. It started with a name whispered in a tip. Antwerp port ain't just any port, fam. That's Europe's back door where cargoes land, looking clean but hiding madness. January 2020, 2 loads rolled in from Brazil. Paperwork said sea salt, but what was really inside? 1,360 kilos of top-tier cocaine, split between two containers. One container had 650 kilos. The second, just a few days later, held 713 kilos. First one, quietly picked up, moved straight to a warehouse. Second one, busted. Cops scanned it, saw something off. Deep in the salt, 713 bricks of raw cocaine blood. They moved fast, tracked the first one, raided the warehouse. Bang, 650 kilos of coke right there. Now they had evidence in hand, and they started moving quick. Backtracked both loads, scanned logs, checked container IDs, entry points. Dutch and Belgian feds linked up, started connecting dots. Who moved what, when, and how it all slid past security. These weren't random drops, it was surgical. Containers offloaded clean, rerouted, secured, like man them knew every blind spot in that port. Whoever was behind it, they weren't new to this, they were built for it. These containers didn't just pop up by accident, blood. Nah, the way they moved, clean, sharp, patterned, offloaded like clockwork, shifted, secured. Man behind it knew the port like the back of his hand in it, knew the blind spots, the dead time, the right man to nod at. Police grabbed hold of the one they could, locked it down. What they had now was no rumor, no speculation. This was concrete. Two big shipments, one in their hands, one vanished, and just like that, a new web started showing itself. The names still in the dark, but the physical side of the case locked in. What came next was digital, you get me? And that's where it really kicked off. Now the feds weren't just sitting with bricks of coke, they had a launch pad. Customs passed all the container info over to Dutch intelligence. From there, the real manhunt began. They weren't chasing drugs no more, they were chasing people. Phones had already been bagged, devices lifted from suspects in the warehouse and the docks. Most of them BlackBerry, encrypted up to their necks. Organized crime phones, fam, the type that don't ring unless money or murder's involved. Investigators got to work, dug through deleted chats, rebuilt convos from fragments. Bit by bit, the blueprint of the whole operation started forming. One name started peeking through the cracks: Quincy Promes. He weren't seen at no docks, didn't lift a box, never even touched a container, but his name kept circling. Chats between the other man them kept mentioning someone calling shots, someone throwing funds, someone who weren't moving bricks but moving people. One message broke it down, man dropped 200k into the operation. Another message spoke on half the load getting lost. Same time the second container got intercepted. Police didn't stop there. They pulled location data, matched times, matched bank transfers, checked who was moving with who. Then boom, they linked the traffickers to a number registered to Promes. His full name weren't used, nah, but the lingo, the flow, the figures, it screamed his involvement, fam. Then came the big one. A known trafficker, Pierre Wattel, had Quincy's number saved in his phone. Man tried to deny it, act brand new, but the forensics exposed him. That number, active during the exact dates the coke landed. Same timeline, same circles. That was the final nudge before the focus shifted from drugs to a mad incident man thought was buried. See, before the kilos, before the encrypted chats, there was that night, a family link-up, summer 2020, somewhere low-key in Abkuda, just outside Amsterdam. They booked a little warehouse, got the fam together, food, music, good vibes on the surface, but underneath, pressure was brewing, tension was thick. At some point, it kicked off. Promes and his cousin, proper bust up. Over what? A necklace, blood, but not just any chain. This one held weight, sentimental, cultural, family pride stitched into it. Words flew, then man pulled out a blade. No long ting. Promes stabbed his cousin twice, one in the knee, one in the leg. Blade ripped through tendon. Man collapsed, blood everywhere. Ambulance had to come quick. Cousin survived, but he didn't walk out the same. Doc said his leg was finished, couldn't bend properly, no running, no squats, even normal walking would be pain. Dreams of football, dead and buried, and the worst part, he looked up to Promes before that night. Now, fear, trauma, straight betrayal. The feds didn't even know about the incident at first, you know, they clocked it by accident. They was already tapping Promes's phone over the drug ting. One convo dropped the bombshell. That's when they started piecing together what really went down. When the case hit court in 2023, man didn't show up. Man stayed posted in Moscow, still on pitch, still smiling. His lawyers spun it, said the stabbing weren't planned, just a flare-up, a moment, but the prosecution weren't buying it. Said Promes bragged about it after, told people, and I quote, they'd face bullets if they crossed him again. That's not self-defense, fam. That's a threat, that's pride. Attempted murder didn't stick, manslaughter didn't either, but aggravated assault, that one held. Boom, 18 months in absentia. Man got sentenced without even entering the dock. And while that case was playing out in one court, the cocaine charges were brewing heavy in the background. Bigger, dirtier, louder. 2 trials, 0 appearances, 2 sentences, and the baller still ghosting. By the time court day arrived, man had already made his choice clear. He weren't coming back. Moscow was his bunker. Spartak still had him on the books. Man was still training, still kicking ball. While prosecutors were exposing evidence to the world, Promes was keeping it moving. First trial, wrapped in June 2023. The charge, aggravated assault. Guilty. The court confirmed it. Promes stabbed his cousin. Prosecutor said he never apologized, never owned it. They said he was proud of it. Court agreed. Boom, 18 months. And still man didn't flinch, wasn't even in the country. Then the second case opened. This one about the 1,360 kilos, straight from Brazil, landed in Antwerp. And Quincy's name was in the middle of the mess. Court heard it loud and clear. Fam, Promes ain't just some baller caught slipping. Man was deep in the game. Prosecutor said he invested heavy. Messages from them encrypted phones backed it. Man even sat there calculating his losses when the second container got grabbed. They didn't come light either. Asked for 9 years. The judge gave him 6, and man weren't even there to hear it. Both sentences handed out in absentia. Rare thing, but Dutch courts do allow it if you're clearly ducking justice, and the evidence is mad strong. Promes denied everything through his legal team. Straight denial, blood. Said they'd be appealing both verdicts, and that until things are final, every suspect must be presumed innocent. Legal talk innit, but outside them walls, people were done. Man had 2 convictions, still flying, still earning, still untouched. Not 1 day behind bars, no questions answered, no courtroom steps touched, just silence. And that silence was screaming now. Months after he got hit with the assault charge, boom, Promes was back on trial. This time, it weren't just about madness with his cousin. This was international drug trafficking, fam. Amsterdam court, packed with files. Prosecutors breaking it all down. Said he wasn't just linked. Nah, blood. They said man was part of the structure, the operation, the engine. Not just a text or money drop. This was control, timing, organization. They laid it out step by step. Both shipments, 650 kilogen and 713 kilogen, the same ones we've already clocked. They said Promes held a managerial role in that network. They showed timelines, container arrivals, comms before and after, money moved, payments made. Then they mapped his locations, date by date, move by move, bare receipts. Financial experts pulled up too, said man had money flowing in and out like a trap line. No explanations, no business to back it, just dodgy withdrawals and fast transfers from accounts linked to him. Defense tried to swing it. Messages don't prove control. Promes never touched the goods. He never called the shots. Tried to play the circumstantial card, but the judge didn't rate it. Final verdict, man was directly involved. Didn't need to touch no bricks. Didn't need to bark no orders. He was the one at the top, the investor, the architect. Prosecutors wanted 9 years again. Judge settled on 6, again in absentia. No witness box, no defense speech, just cold evidence. And a baller who vanished when it mattered. But giving time on paper is one thing. Getting him back to serve it, that was a whole different headache. And what followed, fam? Long, slow, technical. The football world moved quick. Ajax, yeah, the same Ajax that once dropped 16 mil to bring him home, dropped a statement, condemned him, washed their hands. Other clubs tightened up, started reviewing mentorship stuff. Some even brought in ex-feds to chat to their youth players, not about footy, about the streets, the temptations, the snakes waiting on the edge. Promes, he wasn't just a player no more. He was a warning sign. Like we said earlier, man dipped out of the Netherlands before both trials, straight back to Russia. Spartak Moscow took him back. Man was still balling, still posting penthouse views like nothing happened. Dutch courts issued warrants. Interpol slapped a red notice on his name. But Russia, they weren't playing ball. No extradition deal with the Netherlands. So Promes just chilled, scored goals, flew private, sipped cocktails until he slipped. March 2024, Spartak's on a training camp in Dubai. Promes tries to fly out the country. Border guards clock the red notice. Man gets bagged at Dubai airport. Not for drugs. Nah, just a traffic offense. But that red notice was loud. Prosecutors moved fast. UAE and Netherlands had signed an extradition treaty back in 2021. But whether they used it or not, case by case. So for months, man was stuck. Not in a cell, but couldn't leave. Paperwork, politics. Meanwhile, Spartak cut him off. Contract gone. Man signed quietly with some lower league club called Dubai United. Still balling, but it was shaky. His passport was blocked. Appeal was dragging. Dutch officials were watching. Then June 2025 hit. Game over. Man gets picked up again. This time, no bail, no runaround. 20th June 2025, Promes gets extradited. Charter flight. No luxury, no first class, just cuffs and silence, straight into Dutch custody. Hours later, court confirmed what had already been written. 6 years for the cocaine, come as in the months for the stabbing. Back to back, no early release, no suspended time, no shortcuts. His lawyers threw in an appeal, but until that gets settled, Promes is locked. No pitch, no post, no freedom till 2030, minimum. So what you saying, fam? Justice done? Or too little too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if these crime stories got you locked in, hit subscribe, turn on them notifs. We got more to uncover. Always